Okay, just a bit of discussion about sacrificial anodes in Caravan hot water systems. This is a new one, a spare one that I have. You can see the sacrificial anode here, which is, what does it do? Well, it's made to protect the hot water system against electrolysis. This is a bit like the galvanising on galvanised steel. This is sacrificial. It's made to eat this out rather than eat out the internal part of the hot water system. So it's pretty important. If it gets to a stage where this is worn out, this will all disappear and it'll get right down with a very, very thin steel rod that's on the inside, a bit like a welding rod. And all this stuff is stuck to the outside. After some time, I would suggest maybe a couple of years or a year, somewhere between 1 and 2 years, depending on how hard the water is, this will eat out, which it's supposed to, and then you replace it. The alternative is if you don't replace these, or at least inspect them every year, annually, if you don't look at them, this will disintegrate and your hot water system will start to eat itself to pieces, which is a pretty expensive fix. The tricky part with these is, of course, I found, is the thread. This thread here is pretty important, of course. Once you get the old one out, you might be able to take the old one into the shop or into wherever you're buying the stuff from and try and match it. Basically, this is 14 threads per inch. It's basically 3/4 diameter. So we can say, well, we want 14 threads per inch. It's about 3/4 inch fitting. It's almost a standard English 3/4 inch fitting, like a 3/4 BSP, you would think. But it's not just as simple as that, unfortunately. I bought one of these a little while ago on my previous Caravan. Bought it from the local guy, told him the hot water system. The hot water systems are pretty much all the same, relatively the same. And he said, yeah, this is what you need, is something like this. Not this particular one, but one that I used. And of course, I went to try and put it into the hot water system and I couldn't make it fit. I thought, well, the thread must be a little damaged. So I got a thread cleaner and cleaned out the thread as best I could, and still this would go in about 2 or 3 threads and it would stop. It's with a bit of thread tape on, it's sort of sealed, but it wasn't right. And I did a bit of research and I got on the eBay and ordered a tap that I could then clean the internal thread out so that the fitting would fit in. So I bought a 3/4, sorry, wrong one. I bought a 3/4 BSP, 14 threads per inch and 3/4 inch diameter. And when I look at the when you can compare the threads to this, that looks spot on. I cleaned the thread as much as I could, but even this wouldn't seem to go into the hot water system. So I thought about it for a while and spoke to a few people, and I found out that there is another thread, again 3/4 of an inch, and it's an NPT thread. So the NPT thread and the BSP thread, although they're both 14 threads per inch, and if you marry them up, you can see they marry up. It's pretty hard to see on the video, but they marry up bloody good. It's almost, you think, well, it's the same tap, but it's not. The angle of the thread on the BSP and the NPT do not match. So if you buy one of these and it won't fit into your hot water system, they may have sold you the wrong one. The ones that fit in my old Caravan and also my new Caravan are the 3/4 inch NPT thread. And again, as I say, the only difference between the two is that the angle of this thread is slightly different to the angle of that thread. And if you can try and put the wrong one in the hot water system and give it a good wrench with a spanner, there's a fair chance you're going to mess it up or break it or ruin the thread, and I don't know what you do then, maybe replace the hot water system. So it's important to get the right one. So I don't know, I spoke to my caravan manufacturer, and he didn't seem to know, and I explained the difference between the two, and he still was a bit bemused. But they will not fit. They will not. The wrong one won't fit into the Caravan hot water system, and even the guy at the Caravan repair shop, wherever you go to, may or may not understand the difference. So if it doesn't fit, you've probably got the wrong thread, and go away and try and get the correct one for your hot water system. So that's about it. That was a bit of info that might maybe help people down the track. Thanks for watching.